Okay, hi everyone. I'm looking forward to next session. We will need for this week a sketchbook, some your water pot and a thick brush, 3 different acrylic colours. So that could be, I would choose a really dark one, a lighter one, and actually I'm going to have 2 darker ones. They can be all different colours. And then we're wanting 3 different papers, collages. So you can have a black piece of paper. This is one of my prints. And then this is that funky toilet paper. And you will need a pair of scissors, your Pritt stick, and then either your thin brush, we're going to use the end, or I've got a chopstick here, or a stick that I just found in the garden. This is for scratching. We're going to be doing some Sgraffito today. Okay. So, everything today is based on these castles, Scottish castles. We might have a little practice of drawing some illustrative work. It's all based on a print by Malcolm McGogh, I think. I'll have to double check that. And I will send you the image that's going to be our inspiration. If you can work in A4 or A3. And what I'm going to do to start with is I'm going to cut 3 rectangles that are going to be the same size. So I might cut that slightly smaller, slightly thinner. As you can see, it doesn't quite matter if it's not completely straight. And then what I'll do is I'll use this one as a template to cut out the other ones. So I might draw around it. On both pieces of collage. Get a nice bit. And then we're going to cut that template out. And actually I'm going to start with sticking them in my book, so that I know what I'm working with. 1, 2, 3. But yeah, you've got some black paper in some of you have got some black paper, so you could use a square of that. That would work really well with a lighter acrylic. And essentially what we're going to do, these are our backgrounds, and we're going to paint over them with the acrylic paint and then scratch our illustrations into the surface. Okay, so just checking that these are going to fit in. Lovely. And I'm going to glue them down using my Pritt stick. Start with this one. And yeah, my sketchbook's going to act as a kind of frame, I guess. Start with that one. Then I've got my pink. And then my collage. Okay, right, so to start with, I'm going to start with the dark one, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my acrylic paint And I'm going to put a splodge about the size of a pea onto my first colour. The nice and bright behind will work well. And I'm going to spread it thickly without any extra water, like a gloopy mess over the top of my picture. You can go right to the edges or even over them if you want, or if you want some of that colour to be shown through, that's fine too. Okay, so that's number one. Before we move on to number two, we're going to draw our, I'm going to use my stick and I'm going to scratch in. Now we're going to have a little practice before we do this bit in the session of drawing a castle or two in a quite a stylized way. So also what you might find would be useful is a bit of scrap paper to just wipe any excess off. So this is based on the actual castle in the sketch that I'm working on, that I'll send you. But I thought it would be fun to try and do 3 different castles from Scotland. So I'll have to, I want to do that one, that really famous one that's on the island. Begins with duh, I think. Anyway, you're going to scratch into the surface and scratch away using either your stick or the back of a paintbrush. And as you can see, it's not super, like you can still see quite a lot of the dark underneath, so you don't need to, your picture isn't super obvious. Let's carry on, do a few more little squares. And there's certain bits of the castle that work better than others. You want to do it as quickly as possible before it dries. Let's move on to, I'm going to do blue on this one. Brush it over. Nice and thick with your acrylic. Okay, and then this time I'll do it with my paintbrush so you can see. I'll do, I think, in fact, make sure you don't add any water actually, because that seems to have made my paint act a bit funny. And let's try with the green over this one. Okay. A really thick layer. And then scratching it. I'll turn my stick around the other way. That's better. So you want to be really laying it on thick, basically. I'm just making this up now. This castle, inspired by... Can you start to see the... Actually, this one's worked the best. So we've got 3 Sgraffito drawings, and what we'll do is we'll do a little bit of, maybe we'll add some paint. If there's one that hasn't worked, we can add a little bit of paint afterwards onto it. This one was my least good, and that's because I had a little bit of water on my brush, so it didn't work as well. And we will do a little bit of drawing to start with, based on a couple of castle drawings that I send you. Okay, looking forward to it. See you next week. Bye.